3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. I'm Derek Savage, and this is Cool Cat Loves the Sardonicast. I was just
Oh my god.
sitting there for a while.
That's a good one.
Yeah, there's another one that I kind of wanted to do, but it required more practice.
All right, well, next time.
That was
I'm
a
Adam.
scary one.
From Your Movie Sucks.
I'm Ralph from Ralph the Movie Maker, youtube.com/Ralph the Movie Maker.
Yeah, and I'm Alex from IHE.
And we got a guest.
Who are we joined by?
I'm Evan,
From-
Adam's brother,
Oh.
Hi, Evan.
from
my mom.
the Diving Bell Social Club, I guess, and Dad.
Why are you here, other than nepotism?
I think that's it. I
Oh.
think that's it. I'm here to talk about some movies, and yeah.
How'd the screening go for American Movie?
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. So I guess you guys probably heard on the last podcast, we invited a bunch of people out. I've got a bar in Montreal called the Diving Bell Social Club. And every Tuesday we do a screening, usually some deep cuts. And we did American Movie last week, which is one of my faves. And 2 people came out from the podcast, so that was pretty cool.
Awesome.
So hello to Ian and to Nicolas.
2 people that you
I
know.
think they had a good time.
2 people that
No,
were
2 people
that had
that I
enough
didn't know.
social skills to make themselves known.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There may have been some people on the wings.
There were
Yeah.
probably dozens more that did not have any
Oh,
social
totally.
skills whatsoever.
Yeah, it's very scary going out.
Yeah.
It is. It is. I was impressed that anybody, took this podcast advice and came out to a strange bar of some dark stairs to somewhere they'd never been before. So no, I think,
Yeah, this is
I
true.
think they liked it. They hadn't seen the movie before. It was cool.
Do you guys have any questions you've been dying to know, some answers you've been dying to know, and questions you've been dying to ask about
I'm here. I'm an
This-
open book.
this man who got born from the same mom that I did, but earlier?
I've got one.
Yeah?
As far as we know.
I want to know if Evan has any embarrassing stories that stand out in his mind about
Oh,
Adam.
great.
You've got to.
Oh, great.
You've got to.
I feel like,
Okay.
You can't have your brother
I
on
feel
and
like-
not do that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Man, I think we should have had a, what can I say, what can't I say waiver.
I can edit out anything. It doesn't really
Yeah,
matter.
you'll just cut it
Oh,
out.
You wanna- So,
This whole segment won't be in the episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. How deep should I go?
however, whatever you want. What is
Whatever I want?
appropriate?
Okay. Let me see. Let me just pull up my list here. One sec. I keep it on me.
And get my Google
No,
spreadsheet.
not much. I mean, there's one of the earlier videos that Adam has made. I won't say the title. I've been wanting to see it for 10 years. It's a masterpiece, but he says it's under lock and key. I think he might have thrown it out. So maybe with enough.
Well, I already
social
mentioned
pressure,
that
peer pressure.
on the podcast.
Wait, you did?
Well, I mean, like we talked about like old, early, cringy videos that we made and stuff, and I was like, yeah, we made
Right,
some in like junior high school, and just a bunch of dumb skit videos and school projects. Some of them were so bad that
Yeah.
I will never publish them. And
Really?
bad, not even in a funny way, like in a sad way.
20th anniversary retrospective.
Never happening.
It's,
Sorry.
Well, okay. I don't know. It's been interesting watching him kind of grow from. We had like this projector in our basement, and we used to use it as like a makeshift green screen. We would just like project an image on the back, and even though there was shadows and stuff, you're like, we're in a forest.
Mhm.
And so yeah, that was kind of cool. Embarrassing stories though, like I don't know. I feel like I'm the more embarrassing person.
Right?
He kind of keeps it close to his chest. I don't know. We used to, stalk people together. That was kind of
What?
weird. We would,
What? What are
yeah,
you talking
yeah.
about?
What
You
did
don't
you
remember
make me
that?
do?
Yeah, he doesn't like to admit it.
What are you
we
talking
would
about?
wander around at night and, follow people. It was weird. He convinced me to do it so many times.
Oh yeah, sure. I don't think you're being
I
serious.
feel very uncomfortable about it. No, I'm not
Yeah,
being serious.
this is ironic. There's no way this is true.
No, just nothing embarrassing. Just like a lot of brother shenanigans. I don't know. I convinced him that our treehouse back when we were kids was like turning into a Jack and the Beanstalk I like pulled apart a bunch of like pea pods and vines. I was like, man, it's the beanstalk. It's growing. It's magic. And only to lead him up to to give him the prize, which was a bag of pop rocks. I don't know if you guys have that. There's like popping.
That was a
rock
different
candy.
day. That was completely.
Oh.
This I
It all
I
it
know
all blends
exactly
into
what
one.
you're going to talk about. That was a completely different event.
Oh, I filled it with sand.
Yeah, you stole my pop rocks and you replaced it with sand, and then you were like, "Hey, let's have a chugging contest for pop rocks," and mine was sand. And my friend was there, and you and him were both laughing at me, and I went inside.
Yeah. So no, nothing embarrassing. Nothing embarrassing. We used to play a game called Lost Puppy, which now I look back on it was kind of weird. We'd just like roam around the basement, be like, "You're the lost puppy, and I'm the owner."
Oh,
And but you can only bark like a dog because you're the puppy. And so who knows? Who
and the
knows?
rest is history.
Maybe there's some weird Freudian shit. That's it.
I remember when you cut open a carrot and put hot peppers in it, and then told me to
chili
eat it.
seeds, yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there were, but
Jesus.
you know,
I've changed.
yeah, no, you're you're a good person now. But
Yes, keyword on now.
when we were younger, it was
Now.
kind of like Reese from Malcolm in the Middle was the closest thing
Wow.
I could
Yeah.
relate to.
I had like the frosted tips.
It was like diabolical.
Ski jump haircut. I was just lashing out.
What's the age difference between you guys?
Almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh wow.
And still perpetually jealous that I showed Adam how to edit on Pinnacle Pro one day.
Oh, really?
God damn. Yeah, I remember. I think the advent of YouTube, like Lonely Girl and Renetto. I think like what 2006. Be like, Adam, man, you gotta get out of the house, man. You can't just be on YouTube all day. You gotta make something of yourself, man. And yeah, cut to me like, hey, can I borrow some money? I'm in the real world. So no, very very proud, very proud.
Thank you.
Where do you guys align in like your movie tastes then? Would you say you've got similar tastes? Or
Yeah, I would say
do
similar.
you clash on some things? Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I went through less of like I remember Adam was really big into like slasher shit.
Yeah.
Probably in like I don't know 2005, 2006. Like all of the Freddys, all of the Jasons.
Yeah.
I remember, I remember my mother being quite concerned. After like
Really?
the 6th hour downstairs of like, I'm watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Yeah.
again. But no, other than that, no, we've got very similar tastes. I'm less of a slow cinema guy. I don't know, maybe
Need it
my attention
fast.
span's a little shorter. I need it fast, man, and furious. Yeah, no, I mean the Holy Mountain's also one of my faves. The similar directors are kind of up there on my list. I don't have I don't know, I try to set it aside enough time to watch good stuff. I don't really have time for the flops that I know are fun to review. That's the thing. The beauty of those reviews is you don't even have to watch the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
depending
Like,
on the movie.
I don't need to see Snow Day or what? Snow Ice
Frozen?
Ice Day, Frozen Spider. Oh yeah, Frozen. I don't need to see that movie anymore.
Ice spiders?
I've seen it. Ice Day.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure which movie
It was
you're
just called
trying to-
Frozen.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, similar tastes. I've been to I went to TIFF with Adam. We went to Fantasia Film Fest here in Montreal together, under the Silver Lake. Yeah, so
Oh,
all that
okay.
stuff
Very
is,
nice.
that's my kind of stuff.
I just wanted to know about your favorite films and stuff.
Yeah.
Which
Oh,
you're
yeah,
really-
I'm-
yeah. I wanted to know if your tastes are similar.
Yeah, I think they are. I mean, like I've said, I've watched a lot less movies.
Mm-hmm.
I like a good Malick, Gaspar Noé. Especially recently with Climax. I watch a lot of documentaries.
Uh-huh.
I feel like if I'm going to set aside like a couple hours to watch something, maybe a little shameful, but if I don't already think it's going to be good, then I probably won't watch it. Just
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a lot of
Mhm.
things that
Still
aren't
have the
worth
time.
my time also. Like the new Lion King.
oh, what? I thought you loved The Lion King, man.
This isn't the
I
Lion
thought that
King
was your
though.
fave.
It's just more real.
Yeah.
How about
So
your
real.
taste in crap? Like, Cool Cat and
Oh,
Neil Breen.
yes.
Do you like all that stuff?
Yes, I love it. And in fact, one of the movies that Adam and I watched probably 20 times when we were kids. Actually, there's two that stick out that I feel like are good flops. I don't know if they're a good fit for this
Sure.
podcast, but I'd love to see some more kind of exploration on it from your perspective. But obviously, Rat Race, I
Yeah.
think is fucking hilarious. Not even in like a cringy way. Like, yes, there's a lot of that, and maybe it's like my nostalgia boner, kind of just like,
I
twitching a little
think
bit. But
it holds up
it's
aside
awesome.
from the opening credits, which are the most obnoxious, irritating opening credits I've ever
Get
seen.
Undurat.
Yeah, it's so
that's
annoying.
good.
But the rest of the movie's pretty funny.
Star-studded Oscar winners. But the other one is I think it was a John Landis joint, right?
The Stupids, yeah.
The Stupids
Yeah.
with Tom Arnold and the kid that was Alfalfa, and I think Max Landis is in it for a second too.
Yeah, he gets white paint on him.
Oh please,
For
yeah.
like
If you have the chance, if you're
second.
looking for some flops, for some cringe vehicles, The Stupids is really good.
Yeah,
Another one that we used to watch that does not hold up. It's the Gumby movie.
oh Jesus.
It's terrifying. It's terrifying. It
All I
doesn't hold
remember
up.
about
It's
it is
2
like
hours long.
marble tears. I think I need to
Yes,
revisit
there
it.
were, the dog. They're like in
Oh.
a rock band, and every time they play music, their dog cries pearls as tears. And then there's like these weird robots that are like, "Wow, this dog's crying pearls. We could be rich here." And
hell's
they
Gumby?
kidnap the dog
Yeah.
and turn it into a robot, and it's crazy. The Gumby characters are weird enough, and their voices are like this, Gumby. And
Stop
but they make
motion.
like claymation like people. Is so unsettling. It's weird. It's such low frame rate, and it's scary. It's not
Yeah.
a good movie.
Claymation's good at being
Sounds
creepy,
strange.
Stop motion's always creepy as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even Fantastic Mr. Fox. Like I could imagine being like too young and that movie freaking me out. Especially when they do that scene where the character's eyes get all beady.
Yeah.
That little callback
I
thing.
was
Yeah.
thinking that.
That looks a little unsettling. So we're gonna talk about a film that we saw. You didn't see it, but I'm sure you won't mind it being spoiled for you if we do spoiler talk. Do you want to
Nope.
do you want to spoil Spider-Man? We're gonna talk about Spider-Man. I guess we kind of have to. I don't
Yeah, there are
know.
things you can't really talk about
Yeah.
without spoiling it.
That's most of the plot is the spoiler. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, spoiler warning. Spider-Man Far From Home. This time, it's not in America.
Did you guys see the last one?
Of course.
I did.
Homecoming, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
Homecoming.
yeah.
This time, it's
Spider-Man,
not in
the
America.
Iron Manning.
All these marvelous, beautiful locations that we don't see because the director doesn't know how to pull back the fucking camera.
Yeah.
So you might as well film
Everything's like
the
a medium
entire
shot.
thing on a soundstage in LA and it would look no fucking different. Why was this a part of your marketing campaign?
Well, that I disagree. I think it would have totally looked like a set, like that scene from Aquaman where they're supposed to be in Italy. That was crap.
It
Yeah.
seemed
It felt like Italy. It was just the camera did not show anything. It was just on.
We didn't
I'm like,
see
why aren't you
anything.
highlighting this
Yeah.
location?
Like,
These like amazing locations.
the location
And you're
itself
like, oh, barely
would do the work for you and you'd have a beautiful shot. But he doesn't I
Yeah.
mean, you're not allowed to have personality when it comes to your framing or cinematography.
No, Disney wants their standard coverage of everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's all
Two
just gonna look the
mediums,
same.
maybe a close up, a wide, and that's it. Get the fuck out of
That's
there.
my biggest problem with it.
They don't want you. Yeah,
I feel
me
like
too.
this one and the first Spider-Man Homecoming,
Homecoming.
both of them just like really, really bland, boring, cookie cutter cinematography and shot composition. And even kind of bad in a way
Yeah.
too. It's not even just standard. It's like everything is way too close. And immediately after I watched that movie, I started watching like The Banishment by Andrei Yagantsev or whatever, and I was just
That's
like,
an
"Holy
unfair
fuck,
comparison.
I can
Yeah.
breathe!" You know, like every
Yeah.
single shot in that movie, I'm like, "This is further back. This is a wider shot than like anything in the Spider-Man movie I just watched. Like this is exactly what I wanted out of it. Like it didn't need to be that extreme. Like Spider-Man doesn't need to be an art film or anything, obviously. But like why even go to the scenery if you're not going to show it? I want to see the location. I want to see where you are.
These Tom Holland Spider-Man movies like the inverse of the Sam Raimi movies in a way.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
I connect a lot more with the story and the characters, but it's the presentation that really holds it back. I thought
Exactly.
there were some scenes in Far From Home that did push it a little bit, with the villain, of course, being slightly more interesting. But it's such a half and half. Like every time it gets to a point where it's just characters talking, that to me is when it's at its worst, because it's always just like really simplistic shot, reverse shot, kind of basic stuff like that, which you can just see it's part of that comedic style they're going for.
Yeah.
That a lot of American comedies do, where it's just let's just sit
Judd
the camera down and
Apatow.
see what kind of happens. Exactly. Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
it's a
and that
superhero
can get
movie.
tiresome.
I don't know. It's not epic. It's not epic anymore.
Yeah.
Especially when
The only
comparing
time
to
the
the Sam Raimi
cinematography
ones.
is creative, it's like a CGI shot
Exactly.
or a visual effect.
And it's like-
all the computer people doing that.
Exactly.
Any
It's like
shot that's
outsourced.
filmed in real life is like, again, like the standard Disney blocking. But that I don't want to be so negative on the movie right off the bat, because I think
Yeah,
we
I
all
enjoyed
like
it.
it. Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Man,
But
When did you see
it
it?
has its issues, mainly technically.
how many days has it been?
When did I see it? July 4th I saw it, I think. Yeah, July 4th.
I saw it
Yeah.
6 days ago. I saw it on Tuesday.
America's birthday.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like I enjoyed it. I had a fun time. It was kind of funny. There were some parts I liked, and after coming out of the movie I was like that was decent, but I really hated how bland the cinematography was and a couple scenes. And then just like over the course of the next 4 days or whatever, just slowly leaving my memory, and I'm like, what did I really even like about this movie? Like it's just the jokes. It's like
Really?
some of the jokes were funny, and like some of the character resolutions and some of the places that the plot went were satisfying for the overall
Yeah.
Marvel Cinematic Universe. But that's like that has
Mhm.
nothing to do with the filmmaking, and that's not going to resonate with me. That's not going to stick with me. You know, I'm going to forget about it in the same way that I forgot about the first Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Mhm.
I can't pinpoint a single shot from that movie and visualize it. It's not there. I can remember what the characters did and what happened to a vague extent, but I don't remember anything about the movie. Like you might as well have just told me in a different format. Could have read a comic book.
Mhm.
It would have been more visually
Well, I don't have
interesting
that
as a
issue.
comic book too.
But-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for Adam, you're just as a rule, you're less invested in this universe, and I think part of what makes this film so interesting to people is how it is directly like dealing with the events of the previous film and kind of building
I liked
on
that
like
aspect.
the
for
world
sure.
building aspect. Yeah.
Mhm.
But so you didn't connect at all with the plight of Spider-Man, his journey in the film at all.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say I didn't connect with the journey or the story or the characters in any way, because I did to some extent for sure. But that's not what I value out of like the craft of filmmaking. You know, it's like it could
I
easily just
value
be
that.
a different.
Yeah, I think that's
format.
half
I
the
think
movie
all that,
today.
yeah.
I don't think it was
that's very
like
hard to accomplish,
cleverly
too.
written in any way.
I do.
Really, yeah. I
How
think
did
there
they
were
deal
moments-
with the fact that it's post Endgame? That's what I'd be interested to know.
Yeah, I mean the
Yeah, there's a lot
beginning
of
of
that
the movie.
in the first 10 minutes.
They have this like kind of parody iMovie or whatever slideshow, like
Mhm.
in remembrance of
Yeah,
all the
school
people
news.
and blah blah blah.
The school
yeah, the
news has
school
their
news,
presentation.
really shitty like Getty images and stuff, and it's kind of funny. I love
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
part.
It
Like
is.
that's
Yeah, I
something
thought
that had
that was
a
cute.
style to it. And they're talking about like, oh yeah, the blip happened, and they actually address the whole 5-year gap. They're like, oh man, they're making us redo this year in school, even though I'm like,
Yeah.
I was already halfway through the year, and they're making us start
Mhm.
over again. Fuck.
Yeah,
And, like,
some kids are
weird.
5 years older. There's one kid in their group who's like 5 years older and is like a handsome, like jock kind of guy now.
Yeah.
which was pretty funny.
I liked that part of the opening. I feel like the first scene. So like before that, there was a very short scene with Jake Gyllenhaal. You don't want any part of this. And it was so fucking janky. It seemed like it was plucked from the trailer and just thrown in the movie, and then just immediate hard cut. Like what? Like it was so weird and out of place. Did you feel that way? I totally
Which
felt
part?
that way.
Talking
Exactly.
about
You don't
the
even
very
remember
opening
it.
scene.
The very, very beginning.
No, wait, describe it.
It's like they plucked a scene out of the trailer. It was like the big thing is destroying some shit, and then Jake Gyllenhaal, literally quote from the trailer, "You don't want any part of this," and then hard cut to black, and then we see the student news thing. happening?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's before that. It's like right before that.
Oh, that opening little teaser. Yeah, that
Yeah.
wasn't great.
Teaser, yeah, it felt like a teaser trailer.
But
it wasn't like a scene.
All of
Why was
Gyllenhaal's
that there?
acting and the corny like villain stuff, I thought was actually kind of brilliant.
I like Jake.
because they were
I
totally
love
making
that.
fun of it. Yeah, I like
Jake's
Jake,
always
and
great.
I've liked Mysterio since I was like a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
I've known like Spider-Man comics and all their villains, and Mysterio is one of my favorite kind of ones because he's not actually like a villain. He doesn't have anything. It's all a
Yeah.
trick.
What
It's
is-
all like a fucking illusion.
What is his
He's just a
superpower?
trickster, and I think
He
that's
lies.
hilarious. He doesn't have one. He lies. It's a big show, and I think that's awesome.
He's like Marvel's version of Scarecrow, basically, from Batman.
Kind of, except way goofier. He's very
way more
corny, and he's a
campy,
very
yeah.
corny character. Like there's a whole section where he just literally explains his entire plan to the people he planned it with. It's like exposition down your throat, and it's hilarious. I think it was totally self-aware. The issue is the filmmaking doesn't convey the tone very well. So you don't pick up on the camp unless you're really paying attention to it. But like the Sam Raimi movies were way better at communicating that tone than this film is. And that's where the biggest issue is with this whole thing.
Yeah.
But I think the script and the material is still there. I think it's pretty funny. And I think Tom Holland is great. I think the whole cast is great, basically.
Yeah, the side characters are really fun. The whole cast is pretty enjoyable.
The Mary Jane equivalent is actually like a character. She's not like a fucking like the old Mary
Damsel
Jane
in distress, yes.
yeah, she's like a human being. You're like, oh, okay.
She
I
grew
get
on
her
me
as
a
human
little.
being.
I found her a bit annoying,
She
and then
did.
by the end of the movie, I was like, oh, she's just really awkward. I like that.
Yeah, she's
that
supposed to
she
be a little
has like a
annoying.
character.
Yeah.
It's not that I think the movie is bad. I don't think it's a bad film at all. I think it's okay. I think it's all right. But it's just like it's so disposable. It's so disposable, just like so many Marvel movies are. Just exactly like the last Spider-Man movie the Spider-Man Homecoming. I hate how many of them there are, and I hate how I have to specify to this degree which Spider-Man film I'm talking about. I remember enjoying that one when I saw it too, but now I just nothing about it resonated with me. Like nothing stuck with me at all. I remember Birdman was in it. like
Really?
Literally Birdman.
well, I can't. Yeah, I mean, it's just I can't. Nothing. There's
what was his
nothing
actual name?
about it.
The Falcon.
Michael
Yeah.
Keaton, right?
There's nothing about it.
Right. Okay, yeah, Birdman as big robot Birdman.
There's nothing about it that connects with me. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Spider-Man as a character has always connected with me, so I've always enjoyed these movies, even when they're awful. I find some enjoyment
No,
in them.
I connect with the character too,
yeah.
but like just the filmmaking is just so
The filmmaking itself is very
disposable.
bland, yeah.
It's literally just like watch it and then be done with it. Like there's nothing. I'm not gonna get anything out of a second watch. I'm not gonna get anything more out of it being like, oh yeah, look at all these details here, and I appreciate how they framed this and the symbolism and blah blah blah. Like it's just there's nothing about it that's beckoning me to return to it, and that's just
If you think about it, it's just
That's an
economics.
issue.
It makes so much sense for Disney and the directors. Like, no, I mean, you are the minority in that, you want to see memorable things in your movies and good shots, but no one is not going to see that movie and spend the, $20 for IMAX 3D or whatever it is to, it makes sense for them to spend a little less time and energy on it. They know they're going to make their money, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
Mhm. Parts of it feel very factory made. I don't think that means
Literally,
it's
yeah, I
disposable
mean-
or garbage.
Yeah,
I didn't say garbage.
that
But
dark.
I know.
When I say
but, like,
disposable, I don't mean it's
implies,
garbage.
like,
I mean
you
you
could
just like
throw it
you're
away.
done with it.
Yeah.
Like
I think it could have been better in that way, in the filmmaking perspective, but that has plenty of merit, I think.
Yeah.
Alex, what were you going to say?
No, I can see what you're saying, obviously, because it's been a long-running Marvel issue.
Yeah.
But
it
I
has.
think there is slightly more to it. There's plenty of scenes I remember from Homecoming and from Far From Home. I think they're not completely, hopeless in terms of that kind of thing. I think they do capture the spirit of the character, and they realize that the best way to bring him to the screen and have him. Well, Spider-Man's at his best when he's doing the balancing act of sort of being a student, but also having the responsibility of being Spider-Man. And I think these films have really done a good job of portraying that aspect of it. And I think a lot of people enjoy that kind of thing.
When you compare it to other films in this genre, even recently, like Aquaman and Dark Phoenix, and they're all like loud CGI cringe fests. They all got to save the world, and everything's blowing up, and there's a large CGI battle. And the Spider-Man movies are very scaled back, and they focus more on characters and comedy. And I think that makes them stand out, and that makes them much better than most of this shit. So I commend them for that too.
And the subtle commentary in the film was fun as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed that aspect of it too.
Yeah, no things I would say, but it's like spoilers, I guess. But
we already said spoilers.
It's fake news, basically. He's about manipulating the truth to the point where no one can believe it anymore. Yeah. And that's kind of something going on in society right now. With the news and with like the president. And all, it was very fitting and subtle. In a way, not too subtle. It's still Spider-Man, so it's a little corny, but it wasn't like beat you over the head with it.
It didn't overstay its welcome. It wasn't exactly subtle, but it didn't really hammer you over the head. It didn't get
annoying.
Yeah.
There's a lot of these films that gets annoying.
It wasn't obnoxious. And big spoiler warning. I love that they got J.K. Simmons back for Jameson.
Yeah.
That was the best post-credit. Like that was an awesome mid-credits. I loved the post-credits. Like those two things were probably my favorite parts of the movie. Were like the mid-credits and the post-credits. I was like, I love where they placed Spider-Man, where he ended up. And, I'm not completely uninvested in the story or the characters, so Spider-Man being like, oh shit, now people know who I am. What the cut.
Yeah.
I love that happened, but it's still nothing about the filmmaking. And every time I think about I can't say that for every part of the story. I can say that about bits and pieces of the story. They've successfully managed to get me interested in seeing the next film, obviously, but there's nothing about it that like watching it a second time that I'll get more out of. I can't say that any bit of it was like well filmed, other than some cool animation in those manipulation sequences, the drone sequences and stuff. Exactly, but that's like outsourced. It's like handing it to somebody else. It's like, it's still a part of the film, but like it just seems too standardized at this point.
Too. There's some issues with the plot, I think, also. There's like that whole section where the Russian... It's not Russian, it's like a shield lady. Sorry, I was watching Stranger Things. I have Russians in my head.
Oh, yeah.
But there's like... She tells Peter to take his clothes off, and then a guy walks in and takes a picture of him, and then leaves. It was like the most contrived thing. I was like, what the fuck was that?
Humor in the film, for sure.
That whole part was like totally... You didn't even need it in there. It was only there so they could introduce the drones.
Like
I don't think there was a bunch of stupid shit, but there's definitely parts in the film that are like that drag it down.
The resolution to the bus scene. Hey, look, a goat! Jump up out of the come on, you could have ended that so much differently, and there was no real reason why he couldn't just say like drones deactivate or something. Like, come on, it just felt so convenient. Like, fuck off. A lot of it felt super forced. But don't think it was a bad movie.
Like a classic comic book scene for me. It's just stuff like that.
It's just too cheesy, and not in a way where I felt like it was super self-aware about it. Yes, it doesn't take itself very seriously. Yes, it is one of the more like comedically toned Marvel movies for sure. And I would say the comedy worked better in this than like the first movie, I think. The comedy.
I think the first movie was funnier than this. I think this movie kind of has too many characters that drag it down. The teachers were a big part of it too. And not that I don't like them, but they were constantly cutting to them. So I prefer the first one. And then Hannibal Buress was in the first one too.
Oh yeah.
So bonus points for that.
Hannibal
Buress.
It's just I want more. Like Ariel in The Little Mermaid. I want more. And I'm not getting it from these Spider-Man movies.
I wish they would get a better director to...
It doesn't matter because, like, then
it does. I think it does matter a little because the Taika Waititi movies.
Let's get Edgar Wright. Oh wait, they tried that, and then they wouldn't let him do what he wanted, and so he left. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but James Gunn
they won't let
and
anybody
Taika
do
Waititi
anything.
clearly made more interesting films than
I would have to
than
say that
most of these Peyton
like,
Reed or whatever.
The Russos as
the
well.
filmmaking
The Russos have also done something interesting with it.
Guardians of the Galaxy is much more interesting than Spider-Man movies.
And Thor 3 too. It's because they got good directors on.
Yeah.
If you got a really good director on it, it'll get through all that shit.
Yeah.
Get through all the studio-made nonsense, all the hurdles they make you jump through.
Yeah.
But that's all this is really needing is that, and a tighter script.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's that.
What would you give it?
We probably all gave this the same rating too. Did you give it like a 6 out of 10?
I did, and then I recorded my quickie, and then now it's a 5.
Oh,
Because like it's just it's slowly being Thanos snapped out of my brain 50% of the time every day. Like there's just so many other more important, more interesting movies in my life that I don't have space for it in my memory, and it's just going to completely disappear like the first one did.
Well, 3 out of 5 for me. I thought it was pretty good. Could have been better though.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I gave it a 7.
Oh, wow.
It's on the border though. I think it could change when I rewatch it later when it comes out on video.
It was pretty much aiming to be like a 3 out of 5, which is, not the best quality. I wish it stood out a little more. But at the end of the day, it was trying to be entertaining, and it was. So
There's quite a few people that hated it. You get a lot of comments like, I hope you hated the new Spider-Man movie so that I can feel justified in my opinions.
I don't think there's anything to hate, really.
Yeah, it's like if you've seen the first one,
well.
it's not that different in terms of its issues. Like it's the same issues from the first one, more or less.
Yeah, really.
With some parts that are stupider. But
I haven't looked into it much, but does anybody know like what the Marvel plan is now with this universe?
Spider-Man's Tony Stark now.
Lineup.
That's
Sure.
the plan.
Yeah, he's
They're like, this is
good question.
This is the
Spider-Man.
most likable one. We're gonna make him the Tony Stark. And that's exactly what they were
Right.
pointing at throughout that entire movie. It was like, no, Tony wants you to be the one that carries on his shit. And he's like,
Right.
you know what? Even though I really
That's
wanted to
literally
be a
the
part of the
line.
Cool Kids Club the entire rest of the series, and I was just begging to be included, you know what? At this point, I've changed my mind. Here you go, Jake Gyllenhaal. You could do it. Oops, it was a trick.
Right.
Yeah.
Dang it.
That whole
Like
scene
what's
was
next?
so
What's the next
goofy.
superhero movie?
I don't know.
The
They've
next,
probably got a
the
bunch
next
of
one?
them.
That's it for this year, I think.
For this year?
I'm looking up the list
wow.
now.
Yeah, it's a break
I
for
think so.
Isn't it the Black Widow movie next or something?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy because she well, I don't know if that's a spoiler.
Yeah. It's a
If you haven't seen it by
prequel.
this point.
But at this point, I mean, we spoiled Spider-Man, and if you've seen Spider-Man, you must have seen Endgame because they
Yeah,
mention it
if
in
we're
Spider-Man.
in the Spider-Man spoilers, then I guess technically it's the same universe. So just make sure that you put the timestamp after this part.
I'll
for
put the
next
timestamp
part.
after this. Yeah.
She died.
That was funny too. My dad didn't see Endgame, and
Oh.
like right off the bat, bam, Captain America dead, Black Widow dead,
no.
was it Division dead? Like showed 3 of their pictures right at the beginning.
That's
He's
so
like,
funny.
oh, I guess that's it. I guess it's over.
Does he care?
No, he doesn't give
Yeah,
a
I was
fuck.
like, then why would he be watching the new Spider-Man?
Yeah, he's because it's 4th of July weekend. He's like, let's see Spider-Man. I don't give a fuck. He didn't even see the last Spider-Man. The last one he saw was like the Andrew Garfield one.
Nice. The
Oh,
good
dude.
one, number
He
2.
got shorter.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm counting my blessings with these Spider-Mans because at least it's not that. At least it's not the fucking awful, just like emo, dark. Remember Electro and fucking the Rhino and all those
Green
villains?
Goblin, yeah.
Green Goblin played by Dane DeHaan. It was just a nightmare.
Man.
And, like now we actually have fleshed out villains that are fun.
The best part of those Spider-Man movies was in Under the Silver Lake when they
Oh, yeah.
referenced
That was great.
Garfield as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what the Amazing Spider-Man 2 did that we're going to get to see again because of the new Lion King? A fantastic collabo between Hans Zimmer and Pharrell Williams. They're back together for the new Lion
Yeah.
King. Best.
Really?
Yeah, they are. Pharrell Williams is
I
doing
can't
part of the
wait.
soundtrack, and so is obviously Hans Zimmer because he did the original soundtrack.
I just can't wait.
But now
a
Pharrell
new
Williams
song
is
or
helping
something?
out. I don't know. I think that he's just gonna make little modernized touch-ups to songs that don't need any changing and make them
Yeah.
worse. I think that's what's gonna
Great.
happen. You can already hear it a tiny bit in the trailers. But
Okay, so I found some future Marvel films that are going to come out. They're making the Eternals movie. I don't know what
the
that
fuck
is.
Okay.
What the?
Nobody
The
knows.
Eternals.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not familiar.
Shang-Chi?
What the?
It's like that's like an Asian-led one. So
Okay.
that's going to be like the one that panders to China.
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is
Right,
going to be
okay.
good. I'll see that
Oh,
one.
right.
That'll probably be
Yeah, I'll see
the
that
one I
one.
see. Doctor Strange 2. Black Panther 2. Probably Captain Marvel 2 at some point. They haven't announced that, but of course they're going to do it.
I guess, do we want to go into the film discussion, or do we want to talk about Keanu Reeves?
Well, what happened with Keanu Reeves?
Yeah. What's this Keanu thing, man?
I just kind of wanted to talk about how everybody loves him. Just like it's not.
Just,
I don't
how
hate
he's-
the guy. I just think it's kind of funny that he is kind of the new Jennifer Lawrence, where like everybody thought like, oh, she's just like a real person, and there's much more evidence to suggest that Keanu Reeves is a very nice, humble,
Yeah.
loving, caring man, and he's now the
Yeah.
internet's boyfriend.
He's been super famous for way longer as well than like
Yeah,
Jennifer
Exactly.
Lawrence.
He knows how to handle it more.
Yeah.
Like Jennifer
Yeah.
Lawrence became like a star like immediately when she was very young, and I could see how that could like contaminate you and make you kind of a C word.
Yeah.
But
A contaminant.
but like Keanu Reeves is like mature, he's been in tons of great films and he's an accomplished actor. And it's like, what isn't there to love about the guy?
He's been through a lot of shit apparently too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like lost. What is it? Yeah, I mean he was friends with River Phoenix, who died.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
And then, yeah, he had like a stillborn daughter, I think, and then like his partner or wife was killed in a car accident, and sister had leukemia, and yeah, jeez.
He had
Terrible.
a dog and some Russians killed him and had
Yeah.
to hunt him down.
And then he became a Superman and shot a
Yeah,
bunch
basically.
of people.
He
I think it's kind of
slapped a
weird that
horse's ass.
Cyberpunk 2077 or whatever it is. That seems weird.
That
For
he's
him
in
to be
it?
in a game?
Yeah.
People do that all the time
yeah,
now.
I guess.
Yeah,
Well, no,
I
yeah,
think
with
it's
Death
cool.
Stranding and stuff,
Yeah, I think
they're
it's
they're
cool.
mocapping the actual voice actor, which is cool. But yeah, I don't know. It seems weird. I was really stoked. I'm still stoked for that game, but
Yeah, I'm excited for that too.
It's weird. It's just some
It's
guys
become
in it.
like respected to mocap, and
Yeah.
like these
Yeah.
actors
Yeah.
who give motion capture performances are respected as real performances. Like, at this point,
This
you
is
can
true.
capture so much detail. I think it's incredible.
Yeah.
So hopefully we see more of that. It's only going to go up from here.
Yeah. Did you see that really shitty Eli Roth movie starring Keanu Reeves? That's basically like
Well,
that's
with the two
basically like a
women.
porn.
Oh yeah.
What is it called?
What?
Was it Knock Knock? Something
Yeah,
like that?
I think
Oh,
that was
yeah.
what it was called.
Knock.
It wasn't like a porn. It was
That
like
was
a fan
hilarious.
fiction. It was like the first half of the movie is like, oh, we're just two lonely girls and we need a place to stay. You want to touch us? Like it was so bad and annoying. And then his performance in that movie at the end, like.
It's got the funniest ending.
I'm pretty sure you can find it on YouTube, the ending of that movie, and just like,
Yeah.
ooh, oof. It's so painful to sit through. So I hope they capture every detail
So
of
funny.
his performance for Cyberpunk 2077. If he's in the right role, he doesn't do a bad job, but like, holy crap, some movies, he really embarrasses himself.
Yeah, depends. The one where he's doing like a British accent, the
Which
Dracula
movie?
one.
Oh, I didn't. I
yeah.
wasn't even aware of
Dracula.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Oh, you
bad.
gotta find that. I brought
That
the
sounds
master
hilarious.
bear. He's like talking like that. It's like, oh my god.
You can't do it, can you? No.
I think he's with like Anthony Hopkins too or something. There's like all these other amazing British actors around him. Oh.
No, it's just funny. That, like, I feel like Keanu Reeves used to be kind of like the butt of the joke of bad actors in Hollywood. Like, what was it?
Yeah,
What You
so
Do
I
About
thought
Nothing,
too.
I think he was in, but
The Lake
he used to be
House.
Woe Guy, right?
With Sandra Bullock.
With Sandra.
Look up on YouTube, search up The Lake House Keanu Reeves sneeze. Look up him sneezing in that movie. It's great. I mean, yeah, I'm sure he's a nice person. I just think it's I'm always fascinated whenever there's this like hype train, this like bandwagon, no matter what it is, where it's just like so unanimous. that it starts to feel like
Yeah.
What do you think comes first in this case? Like, what do you think comes first? The bandwagoning based on the fact that they're kind of coming back and doing more roles, or do you think it's more of like a viral marketing kind of thing where it's like he's coming out and doing this stuff, so let's hype him up, let's create some
I
Reddit
don't
accounts
think that it's
I think
fabricated
it's kinda both.
because I've seen
Right.
even before that, like right now it's at its peak for sure. Right now it's like full force. But
Yeah,
over the
because
past,
he's in John Wick, and
John Wick is
the game
probably
is
the
coming
most
out.
responsible.
And Toy Story.
So
as
the
well.
media have, and Toy Story. So the
Yeah,
media
it's
have brought him to
symbiotic.
the forefront.
But
Yeah,
even
He's in
before
Toy
that
Story?
point, yeah, he's got a character in the new Toy Story. Even before that point, though, over the past, like, I don't know, at least 3 years, like, there would be a post on Reddit every, I don't know, 4 months being like, Keanu Reeves takes the subway like normal people. Or like...
he gives his seat up to somebody who's pregnant.
Yeah, he just stood up and gave his seat to some old pregnant lady or something. Like... Yeah, there would
Maybe that was
always be
fake.
one of
Shouldn't
those,
be
like,
old
every
and
once
pregnant.
in a while. But now it's like, I don't know, just during E3, it felt like it was like every single day, and I found that kind of funny. Nothing
He's just
wrong
part
with
of that
it.
group with like Tom Hanks and Ryan Reynolds, where they just the internet just loves them for whatever
The
reason.
internet loves Tom Hanks.
they do. He's a nice guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say he's in the like nice guy group like Keanu is.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen as much of it.
It's just the Reddit circle jerk as usual, you know.
Yeah, this is true. Maybe I should just stop going on Reddit.
Yeah,
Maybe that's my
It
problem.
makes me just
Yeah,
roll
that's
my
probably a
eyes
good
every
idea.
time. You just see it. There's always just the top-rated posts are just this. I've just discovered this thing, and it's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Upvote
This is the
to
greatest
agree.
actor. This is the great. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it can't just be this thing's good. It has to be no. This is the greatest thing of this ilk ever made.
Wow, decided already.
Yeah,
It's like, why don't you let it breathe in your head a little?
yeah, exactly.
You don't even remember it in a week, turns out.
All right. To conclude, what would you give Keanu Reeves out of 10?
Oh, definitely a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I'd
Out
give
of
him
10,
a,
a 10 out of 10.
a whoa out of 10.
Mm.
Whoa.
I'd give him an epic sneeze out of 10.
Do you think that's air you're breathing? Out of 10. Matrix was his best role for sure.
Yeah, probably.
Matrix is a great movie.
Although John Wick is coming up there. We'll see. We'll see how many John Wick movies there are.
John Wick Revelations. Wait, Revolutions?
The John Wick sequels are certainly better than the Matrix sequels. So,
Oh,
give him
Yeah,
that
that's
much.
true.
Mhm.
Got
All
nothing
right.
on Animatrix.
So we watched a film that we're going to discuss. It was recommended at the end of the previous episode. Spoiler warning for this film. American movie. It's a documentary.
yes.
I think it's possibly the first documentary we've talked about on the podcast.
Absolutely. it
yeah,
is.
I think it
That's
is.
why I'm
yeah.
very interested to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
interesting.
It's like a whole different thing. It's a whole different way of talking about a movie.
Yeah, it really is. I guess to describe it, I know it was my recommendation. It was more or less Evan's recommendation because he was the one that told me to watch it 10 years ago, and I never did. And I
Yeah.
was looking for an excuse to just finally watch it. Do you want to describe the film?
Yeah, sure. It is a tale of Mark Borchardt, who is an aspiring filmmaker, trying to make his what he figured at the time was his magnum opus called Northwestern. He, for many reasons, most of which financial, decided I've got to make Coven, which was his
Coven.
his
Coven.
his horror film. It's the Milwaukee. So it's funny you were mentioning this. I don't know if it was on the last one, or the one before, but the kind of Northwest United States accent is very similar to kind of like Canadian, rural Canadian
Yeah.
accents.
Yeah.
So they sound Canadian to me, but no, they're from Milwaukee, and he borrows some money from his uncle, and it basically follows the day-to-day life of the creation of this movie. And there's a couple lines where they talk about, in order to make a movie, you've got to just like drag all of these people out here who don't want to do it. So it's a lot of him just like on the phone with his friends being like, hey, you want to be the cameraman, or you want to be an extra in my movie Coven?
Especially if you're not really paying people.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
Especially if you
it's
don't have much to
beautiful
offer.
and it's sad.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. It's like one of the most quotable movies of all time, in my opinion, and it all just like rolls off this guy's tongue. Like, what do you want to do with your life? Suck down peppermint schnapps? Try to call Morocco at 2 a.m?
Yeah.
That's senseless. That's what happens, man. Yeah, it's great.
This is one of my favorite documentaries, so I'm glad it was recommended. It's definitely the one I've watched the most. I've seen it at least like 10 times. Yeah, I fucking
sure.
Well, like you were saying, it's hilarious. It's funnier than like mockumentaries that are trying to be funny.
It seems
Like,
like it
it's
would
more-
be.
A lot of
Some
people
of it's
think
so
it's fake.
ridiculous.
You could tell me it's a
some of it's so
mockumentary and I would
ridiculous.
believe it. You could tell me
It's
that
like
these
Borat,
are
some of
characters and not real
Yeah.
people.
It
and I would
reminds me a
totally
little
believe it.
of like Fubar.
Yeah.
Especially
You were saying
Mike.
it's hilarious, but it's also kind of inspiring to see like this guy's passion for his work.
Mm-hmm.
The
kinda
issue
sad
is
as well.
like, yeah, well, the way he's making films is the issue because he has like his mom holding the camera. This is not how like a 30-year-old man should be making a film. He needs a crew and shit. And on top of it, you learn he has all this other stuff going on. Like I think halfway into the movie, they introduce he has kids.
Yeah,
and
and
you're
the
like,
whole,
holy
like,
fuck, you have to
custody
support kids. You're
thing,
barely
like,
making any money.
yeah, what are you
He works at
doing?
like a yeah, he's like a custodian at a cemetery.
They're all like struggling with drugs.
Right.
Yeah, and one of the best lines is they ask the kids, they're like, hey, do you like movies? Do you want to make movies like your dad? And they're like, no. And they're like, what's your favorite movie? And it's like 6-year-old kids like, Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
The
'Cause that's the movies he
horror.
watches.
It's funny. I thought the director just kind of disappeared. I guess I didn't look it over, but he's actually been doing a lot. He did
The director of this
seen
documentary.
some Netflix stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, of the documentary. Yeah, not the character, but
Chris Smith.
Chris Smith.
Yeah, he did the Fire Festival one.
The Fire Fest. Yeah,
Yeah,
he did
which is
the
good.
Madeleine McCann doc on Netflix. Like, yeah, he's good. He knows what
He's definitely
doing.
a good documentary filmmaker. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like, there's nothing like flashy about the style in this in any way, but everything is purposeful, and the tone is very good, and the editing's very good, and like the comedic timing of everything's pretty great too.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was especially good, I thought.
If I were watching this with no context of this documentary filmmaker making other projects that are well made and successful, I would have just assumed that this was just one of the guy's friends. Like he was like, hey, I
Yeah,
want to
totally.
make a behind the scenes thing.
Yeah.
But no, this was an actual documentary project. This was like, oh, I want to tell a story about this kind of
This guy.
passionate filmmaking with nothing about, this character who has this dream, and I want to tell a story. And obviously American movie, it's a part of the title, like American dream sort of concept for this. I think it worked out really well. I wonder how he found him.
Yeah, that's a
wonder
good
too.
question, man. But yeah, there's a point where he's talking about like he's literally working at a funeral home, like putting up and down flags and vacuuming around graves and driving around this nice neighborhood. He's like, man, I'm never gonna live like one of these guys, man. I had a moment where I was just I was told to clean up human shit. Somebody shit all the walls, somebody shit all over on the toilet, and I stood there for a minute. And it took me a whole minute. And before I started cleaning the shit, I thought to myself, man, I'm a guy who's about to clean up some other guy's shit in about a minute. It's like, man,
He says,
it's still going.
He says "man" a lot in the
Oh
film.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't
We
even
talking
like
trivia
So many
here? Because
times.
It's more than
trivia
150
said
times. I think.
150 times.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
it says
there
on the IMDb trivia. I didn't really clue into it until after I saw, like, just on the IMDb, I was looking up trivia, and it's like he said, man, 151 times or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I didn't really notice it at first. And then I watched his short film, Coven, with that context in mind. And it was like every second, it was like 3 per sentence. I was like, holy shit. Has he
Yeah.
been doing this the
Yeah.
whole time? Like, he's just doing this in characters that he's written for himself, too?
Did you guys see in the credits, Mike Shank, he did all the music.
Yeah, Mike Shank.
So
did
all the
music.
guitar parts in the movie,
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like
Yeah, I
Mike
thought that was a
Shank,
really good choice.
Mike Shank is like the best part of the movie.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
fucking
100%.
hilarious.
He's my
His-
favorite.
His story about his like LSD trip or whatever, where he went to the
Yeah.
hospital.
The
It's one of the
way
funniest things I've ever heard.
the way he talks sounds
about his
like
scream?
a person making
His
fun
scream.
of that way of talking. The way, like,
No,
his,
but he's
his
so
constant
sincere.
little,
He's
oh
such
yeah,
a
totally,
nice guy.
totally, it's all genuine.
Yeah.
But like he has this, like disposition of just like this really like half closed eyes, kind of goofy smile, like he's a little baked or something all the time. And
Yeah.
he's just very soft spoken. So, I mean, was
Laughs a lot as well.
did a bunch of LSD.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, his laugh. It sounds like
He's a
someone
very
making
genuine,
fun
sweet
of
guy.
that kind of thing.
And then he tells these crazy stories.
yeah, he's so
He was talking
funny.
about
Like,
breaking the windows in the
I
car.
overdosed in
It's
the
like, that was pretty
hospital.
cathartic, right, Mike? Yeah, totally. Do you know what cathartic is, man? No.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to make sure everybody has their gloves on? Hey, does everyone have their gloves on? Okay. He's so funny.
One of my other favorites was Uncle Bill.
Uncle
yeah.
Bill is great.
He was my favorite character. Well,
It's
person.
alright, it's okay.
You got something to live for. Jesus told me so.
So
And then
they
watching
actually
that
used
in
that
the
in
short
film,
film,
which I was shocked. Yeah, I
That
was
was
like,
the
that was
funniest part
totally
to me.
unusable. They can't use any of that. And then, sure enough, he did in the first 30 seconds of Coven.
yeah, so good.
Something that was also interesting too was obviously this guy's like against all odds trying to make this flick, and then you get to like the editing portion of it, right? And so we're talking about Windows
Pre-digital.
Movie Maker and
Yeah.
Pinnacle. The guy's going into he's shooting it all on film.
Yeah.
He goes into like a university. He's literally cutting it up. It's like this,
That's what you got to
for,
do.
For what it's worth, he knows how to splice film together and mix it with audio. That's crazy to me. Like there's no kind of second takes. Like you do your ADR and like I hope it works.
Yeah, he was shooting on film too. So there's a lot of that issues with that shit.
So much footage was wasted just setting up shots. Like, we're burning through this
Yeah.
film here, Mom. Am I in the frame?
Oh, there's the frame. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, there's that whole issue with the frames where it's 23 frames instead of 24. They fuck up somehow. So they have to go back and splice in frames.
Oh, no.
And that sounded like a nightmare too. And that's something like you don't have to worry about like
Yeah.
today. But the way he explained it was funny too. Like, the frame's supposed to be like this big and it's fucking this. No one pays to see this. It's like the most ridiculous way of explaining it.
I was impressed when they showed at the end there's like a lineup down the street for his film.
Yeah.
I was kind
Yeah.
of expecting it to be, he gets the first screening and there's like 20 people there, but it's kind of, it's like a little bit of that heartwarming ending where like, the community came out. They're like, good job, Mark. Don't think you're going to be a famous director, but we'll come see your movie.
Don't think you're going to find 3,000 people to pay $15 for each copy.
Right.
The line was like his brother's like, I thought you thought he was going to be a serial killer or something. Like he's probably better
Yeah,
off
that was
working in
fucked
a
up.
factory or like, dude.
I think one of his brothers is wearing a Hooters shirt during the interview.
Yeah.
It's like there's so much character in the environment in the town, Like there's just so much personality to the movie through all of these unique characters that you find in just like small town America sort of thing.
Yeah. And that's why it feels like it could come off as fake or like a mockumentary, Like you talk like his like bad influence friend that they like pick up from jail one day.
Yeah.
It's like these guys have been doing the same shit for 20 years. There's not really any escape. They're kind of trying to find this escape through their film. And you're rooting for them, but you're also like, yeah, it's probably not going to work, guys.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
genuinely does feel like a sitcom. Like
Yep.
they all feel like character archetypes. Like with his, we mentioned his uncle, and the reason he was my favorite is because he was like the only person who was completely brutally honest about how he just didn't think he was capable of what he was doing, and and we as the audience kind of know that he's right, which just adds another layer of humor to it all.
That'll be the day.
Yeah.
But Uncle
So
Bill still
funny.
needs to give him money because, he needs someone to take care of him and give him baths and everything. And
when it ends
he
with
cares
him
for
giving
Mark
him that
at the end
money,
of the day. Yeah, so there is like a connection between them. Every time
Yeah,
I
he
watch
cares
the
about him.
movie with people and it says that Uncle Bill passed away at the end, everyone goes, "Aw."
It's funny though that you've got this old guy. I met a few of these old guys in the bar biz in Montreal. There's a lot of them, but they ask him like, "How much money have you got, Bill?" He's like, $180,000, I think. Last time I checked, is like the quintessential kind of like, not so much a Grinch character because he's not that much of an asshole, but like he's living in a trailer park. He's like this old miser, I guess, that's like holding on to his shekels. He's got $180,000 in the bank, and he just lives in like the same T-shirt on a pile of old magazines in his mobile home.
Yeah.
Just
So what are you gonna do with it?
he's just sitting in his chair. What are you doing? Just sitting.
Reading poems. Just sitting.
You're reflecting on your
Thinking
life.
about your life?
I suppose
Oh,
so.
yeah. I'd like a peppermint schnapps with Sprite and some ice.
I think one of my favorite parts, easily, was when they were doing the ADR for the screams, and then Mike, who has been
Mike Shank's
just
scream.
so
That's so funny.
completely passive and held back the entire movie,
Very quiet.
immediately lets out this like gigantic scream, doesn't hold back whatsoever. I'm like, what a fucking champ. What a great guy. Because like you're totally expecting a little like he wouldn't even try.
Yeah.
But he totally gives it his all. And I just find that so amazing.
Well, Alex, you were talking about like their archetypes, right? He's like the perfect sidekick best friend.
Yeah,
he even goes
exactly.
to like, yeah, I like to drink vodka, and then Mark came over one day and he had a bottle of vodka, and we just drink vodka
Yeah.
together, and it's just a fun time.
They're like caricatures. It's bizarre.
Yep.
The movie would not be the same without him. I'm not sure I would like
No,
the movie nearly
totally.
as much without Mike. Mike is my favorite part.
Yeah.
I mean, Mark wouldn't be the same without him.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
They need a
Mark
dynamic.
is kind of unlikable.
Yeah.
And Mike kind of makes him more likable. Brings out
Exactly.
the more likable traits in
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, there are a
Because
few
really,
scenes
he's
where
like
you
an
can tell he's
alcoholic.
had a few too many bush lights, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, just sit in your office there, Mom. We'll clean up the. It's like, dude, you're living in her house. Like, come on.
Yeah.
One of the most telling moments towards his character, I guess in a negative aspect, would be when they were watching the Super Bowl and he just gets drunk, and I think he's like the only one drinking, and he starts going off like completely what seems like completely unjustified, like there was nothing to trigger it other than his own insecurities, but he starts going off on like, oh, 40-hour a week pieces of crap, like I'll never
Yeah.
be you all like just looking at a stadium of people, and that's what comes out in his mind. Like he has this hatred for this type of person, this like average person, but it's really just coming from hatred towards himself. Because he's in that
Towards
situation. That
himself,
is
yeah.
him, right?
It's
And
sad, yeah.
he's trying to convince himself every day that that's not him. And he's looking towards this futuristic ideal scenario where he's just super rich because of his movies. That's never going to happen, right? And it's
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
he has to create this and continue this facade where he's like, no, yeah, I'm a big deal. I'm making movies and I'm not like you people. I'm a big star and you'll all see, sort of thing. So he can convince himself that he's just not a regular person because he hates that for some reason.
Well, it's an interesting
like if
play,
he was
even with
just
the title,
comfortable
like
with
American
himself,
movie, American
if he
Dream.
just didn't hate himself, then maybe he'd be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, no, it is weird. The guy, like the brother with the Hooters shirt, just kind of sitting there, like, he seems like, collected, but at the same time, he's just kind of sitting in Milwaukee and like a mobile home. He's kind of come to terms that, that's the guy he is. And then you got Mark, who's doing the exact same thing, but with these bigger dreams. He wants to hit this American dream. But yeah, he's vacuuming funeral homes.
Yeah, he's got so many insecurities.
Yeah, what degree
Like-
do you accept what you're doing and accept your lot in life in a way, or just kind of keep shooting for the stars? It's weird.
Well, it's one thing to
That's where the sadness comes in.
it's one thing to like try and have a passion and get yourself out of a situation that you don't want to be in. If you have goals and aspirations, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But to be completely unrealistic about it, to have such
Yeah.
hatred towards other people
Yeah.
for just like what you don't know those people in that football stadium. What if they're comfortable working a
Yep.
40-hour week? What if they
Yep.
have
Yeah.
good, like you don't know these people? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Right? And it just comes out when he gets super fucking shit-faced. And it's so bizarre that like you can tell how much he just hates himself,
Yeah.
And it's
I think we've met a lot of people like that, though.
there's tons of people like that.
kinda
It's a
come
very
off
real
and
thing.
They're, for lack of a better term, they're kind of just like, they're jacking themselves off. Yeah. Oh, I got this new contract, man. Yeah, I'm gonna be moving up in the world. I'm looking at
Yeah.
Mercedes online.
It's like a performance.
Okay, yeah, it just comes off as sad, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what makes the film more human, though. 'Cause
Exactly.
They just happen to find this perfect group of people who are just sort of thick enough to be totally honest whenever they're asked any questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what's so interesting about the
That's
main
great.
guy is he's got a surprisingly decent vocabulary that makes it so he's kind of able to sell these concepts to people just because he sounds like flowery with all the dialogue he's choosing to say. But when you actually break it down, what he's saying like isn't profound or anything.
No,
He's
he's a
just-
good bullshitter.
He's a
It's just
manipulator.
nonsense. He's a con artist.
He's very
Exactly,
good at it.
yeah.
Like he doesn't
And you
borrow
can tell
money
he's been
from
manipulating people.
from his uncle. He manipulates it out of his hands. You know?
Exactly.
He goes to the bank with
Exactly.
him, and he's so
Yeah,
uncomfortable
the
as it's
bank
happening.
lady.
You know, like fucking Christ, literally
And he
just
manipulated
Like the bank
swindling
lady,
money
she's
out of
like,
him.
yeah, I mean,
Exactly,
just
yeah.
sign for it.
He's like, no, you'll get your money back. That'll be the first thing we do. If we sell 3,000
Shows him the
copies
picture of the lead
this
woman.
half an hour bullshit film that nobody wants to see, if we sell 3,000 of those for $15 each, and literally asking legitimate questions like, oh, well, who's going to buy it? Like, where's the market? Who's going to watch this? You know, like,
How?
oh, you just
Look
got to
at
trust
this,
me.
Bill.
Like,
that.
She's gonna be in your movie, Bill.
yeah, it's so
Oh,
ridiculous.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3,000's a lot of copies.
Yeah.
It's a lot. To give a comparison, I would say Lover has a bit more of an audience than Mark's film.
Yeah.
And that didn't even get close to 3,000 copies sold.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Yeah.
what the fuck he's thinking where he's gonna sell that many.
Yeah, and then at
hilarious, though.
in the end
He
credits,
just doesn't know how it works.
they mention how his uncle actually just gave him 50,000 in his will or something to
Yeah.
finish Northwestern.
Northwestern.
And then you look on his IMDb and he never did. It's like, is he still making it?
maybe.
I don't know. Fuck.
Probably
You
gave
know,
up.
he just gave you $50,000. What'd you do with it?
That's the thing too. The film starts, he's making Northwestern, and he kind of abandoned Coven.
Yeah.
So you
It's
get
so
like this
weird.
whole kind of pre-production phase of Northwestern. I assume when they were making the documentary at first, that's what they wanted to document. And then Mark just kind of goes off the rails and he makes Coven
Yeah.
out of nowhere.
Which is so funny.
Right, yeah.
He went on, apparently, so there's an article that came out in 2017. A trailer came out for a documentary that he was making titled The Dundee Project, which is like a
okay.
UFO documentary about locals who had seen UFOs. I don't know if this movie
Interesting.
ever came out, but the trailer at least is narrated by Justin Vernon from Bon Iver.
Nice.
Which is pretty crazy.
That's
so I don't
weird.
know, like I guess he's still around, but there's a subreddit for like rare and vintage and esoteric VHSs, and that's still one of the top ones where it's just like, I need a VHS copy of Coven.
All right, yeah.
I guess he's acted in a couple movies. Like I see here on his wiki, there's like stuff all the way into like
Well,
the,
yeah, because of
the
the success of this
2010s here.
documentary, people are like,
Oh, totally.
you know, like his acting is probably the best trait he has in terms of like artistic talent. His acting was probably like he's a better actor than he is director. So why not just throw him in a movie? He was in the Cabin Fever sequel. He played like
wait,
he played a
really?
character. in
Was?
it. Yeah, I looked up his
Yeah.
IMDb. He played a
That's funny.
yeah,
Oh, Cabin Fever 2.
yeah,
Spring Fever.
yeah.
Wow.
Apparently,
He has
like a fairly
personality.
major character.
Clearly that's... Yeah.
And I'm
He was
sure he's
on,
made
like,
a lot of
some
cameo
TV show.
appearances. Yeah.
He was like on an interview show, one of those, with him and Mike Schenk. I forgot which one, but they were pretty entertaining on that, especially together.
Want to talk
Wanna
about
talk
Coven?
about Coven, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about Coven.
It's Coven. Coven. It's pronounced Coven.
Oh, that guy.
Unless it was an umlaut.
Yeah, I love this. Like that was another of my favorite side characters. This like uber thespian, like
yeah, that
Shakespearean
guy.
man just,
Mr.
like,
Theater.
chilling in
Yeah, he was
Milwaukee.
great.
Mr.
Yeah.
Theater.
I'll remove
He's
the
like
scarf,
the actor.
Maybe.
Yeah, the actor.
Very real character. Yeah, the best part of Coven is right at the beginning with the old man. And then also Mike in the movie. Every scene with him was
That
just
was
so
kind of
good.
distracting. Like knowing what went into making it is kind of makes it not you don't take it as seriously
Exactly,
the
yeah.
whole film. But it's not as terrible as I thought it was going to be.
I think some of those were supposed to be funny with Mike.
Yeah, it's definitely
Right.
clearly some of them are supposed to be funny. But the thing is, the movie isn't awful like The Room or something, where it's like totally irredeemable and the dialogue is terrible. There's some things to it that are like interesting. Like he actually did shoot it on film, so it does kind of look creepy. And
yeah,
it has
knowing
that
what he
tone.
went through to get those shots too. Like,
Yeah,
it's pretty competent in terms of piecing together, even though it's a 30-minute short.
yeah.
He did the
like
work.
there's like a lot of improv with the actors, so it seems like improv. So the dialogue didn't feel stilted like all the time. Sometimes it didn't. But yeah, most of the movie was pretty crappy.
Yeah.
And it also was about like alcoholism. It was like a horror film kind of about that, I think. Like his group therapy meetings. But like it was a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very confused.
There's a tweet. He's got a Twitter, and the pinned tweet here from February 2017 is, "I've begun to write Coven 2."
Oh no.
Oh, here we go.
Coven 2.
Be the Birdemic
Can't
2,
wait.
won't it?
Yeah.
Did you have anything to say about Coven, Alex?
Honestly, I couldn't get all the way through it. It just
Nice.
after that first like joke, it was just such a mess.
Yeah.
And I really wasn't getting
boring.
much out of it. It was
You
very
gotta
boring.
be patient.
Yeah, it was.
I got about 20 minutes in and just was like, I think I get this now.
It's
Yeah.
way too long.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't have much going on for what it is. It's not
No.
profound in any way. Wasn't really expecting that, but
Or really interesting.
yeah.
They did a decent summary at the end of the end of American Movie. I feel like that kind of.
Oh yeah, that's
yeah,
super
yeah, I
cut.
thought the film
or
covered
whatever.
it better.
Yeah. It made the documentary made the film Coven seem all right. It didn't look as bad
Yeah.
from what they showed in the documentary. I think they were just trying to be nice. Because they easily could have included that in the film, like not the whole thing, but they could have included an edit of the film that showed it in a less positive light. They were clearly trying to show it in a way where it's like, oh yeah, this, we want a happy ending for the documentary, kind of, sort of thing.
Yeah, they just don't show you the movie because
Yeah.
it's not great.
Yeah,
But yeah, again, that's not the point. The point was making the movie.
exactly.
And all these crazy, kooky people coming together to make a movie, even though none of them want to.
Can you look more menacing? You need to look more menacing.
Yeah, he's not a
they're
good director.
completely covered in these costumes, and they're like, you're not giving them real direction. If you is a bunch of these people are just non-actors. First of all, second, like, what do you mean by menacing? You have to say something. Like, what do you want their arms to be up? You want them to like look like they're clawing people, change their posture. You got
why
to
are they
describe
menacing?
that. You
Give
can't-
them like a reason to want to be that.
Yeah,
Like,
what do you mean?
You can't just say, like,
You have
be angry.
That's part of being a director, but he doesn't get it, right? Because he has his own vision in his head, but he doesn't know how to communicate it properly.
Yeah. It seemed like he just
Exactly.
made it up as he went along.
Well, he's missing
Oh,
the
yeah,
middle
that was
step. He
clear.
wants to be this famous director, and in line with like a lot of the horror movies that he's seen throughout his life. He wants to be at that point. Despite the amount of work that he put into this one movie that we see in the documentary, he's not doing the work to get there. It's it's similar to, I know Adam does a lot of music, and I have as well, and especially running a bar where people come in and play music. You see a lot of people that are already in like diva mode.
Yeah.
When there's maybe 3 or 4 people that even know who they are. And so
Right.
like they want that end result, which is fame and success, as opposed to starting from a point of creativity. Like, this is what I want to make. I want to do cool stuff. And then maybe that'll come later. You're skipping that whole middle part of the sandwich.
Yeah.
There's no meat there. It's all bread.
Mm-hmm.
I got that sense from him, too.
I love the conversation where he's going on saying like, it's unchristian to be successful when others are not. I'm not a Christian though. I'm a half Christian, half Satanist. What? I was like, what did you mean? I love how in I think some of the interviews are like, I don't know, in the garage or the basement or something. He's just talking to the camera, and then you'll see coming from the bottom of the frame, he holds up like either a beer or like once it was like a turkey
wing.
drumstick or whatever.
Yeah,
it was just
eats into the camera.
So much character to how this documentary.
And he yells
is
up. He's like, "Yeah, I've almost got this shot. Just 10 more minutes." Chugs a beer.
Yeah, it's so genuine, and I think that's its biggest factor in terms of why this movie is great, is because it feels genuine. It feels real.
It's a testament to the characters too, right?
Yeah.
A lot of documentaries, like, you need so much more than just characters, right? You're telling a story, you have narration. This is I think one of my favorite kind of styles of documentary where they just show. They're not telling you anything.
Yeah.
And obviously there's always a narrative of
Yeah.
the director by choosing what shots you're showing and in what order, to what kind of music, but it's just all right there. And it just makes you feel like you could just put a camera in so many different, like, small town America or
Yeah.
whatever country spots and have this kind of film. Like, it's not inimitable. You could do it again. You just have to find the right people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that way.
Yeah, it felt very fly on the wall, like very impartial. Like they were just watching this craziness unfold in front of them.
And that's what makes it even funnier. It's
Yeah,
very
exactly,
dry.
yeah.
It doesn't tell you what's funny and what's not funny. You could laugh hysterically throughout the entire thing, even when it's serious. I honestly want to hold it against you. There's a lot of... I like the scene in the beginning when he's like doing the rehearsals with the actors and he starts like participating
Oh, yeah.
because they're not doing a good enough job and he's like
Yeah.
yelling at
Butchering
them.
my script.
Yeah, they're making a mockery of my words, man.
Yeah, like his script is like a fucking Charlie Kaufman masterpiece or some shit.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think your script
He
is?
clearly has a lot of angry energy or like anger in him. 'Cause
Yeah.
he's always yelling in his scripts and in his films. It's always about killing people and fucking screaming at the top of his lungs. It's just very obvious that that's what it is, and that kind of takes you out of like watching Coven, for example.
Yeah.
That took me out of it.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like you can't it's difficult to imagine watching a film like Coven without understanding all of the context behind it, because that's the only reason I watched
Yeah.
it, is because of the background, because of the production, because of the characters. So it's like it's impossible to separate that. But, tons of really crappy short films exist like that everywhere. Perhaps there's a lot of interesting stories behind those too. You never know. Right?
Yeah.
I love how he actually like shoved that actor's head into the cupboard. It's like that's not how you're supposed to do it.
And it also wasn't working the first few times.
And then he
They
like
had to keep
punches it
cutting
as hard as he
slits
can.
in.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Like,
whoops,
that's-
shouldn't have been smacking you with this.
I mean, regardless of whether or not you have balsa wood available, regardless of that, like in terms of creating like a stunt or like any kind of like action sequence like that, the one who's getting their head going through the cupboard is supposed to be using their energy to do it. Like that's how you're supposed to cheat it. Like he can hold his shoulders or whatever, but you let the actor who's in the most danger, you let them control it. But he was literally throwing that guy's head through the cupboard.
He's just smashing it.
It's like wait, that's
He also should
not
have gotten
safe.
a stunt guy to do it, but
Yeah,
whatever.
fuck it.
Just have my mom hold the camera and I'll get my brother
Yeah.
to do it.
like you're gonna give that guy a concussion. Why would you do that? He doesn't care.
He's probably sold all 3,000 copies of the VHS by now, so
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
he did
I
it.
hope so. Yeah. Good job, Mark.
What would you guys give this movie out of 10? Or out of your stars?
Or yeah, whatever.
That's tough.
Add a
The
add a
documentary
6.
thing adds an extra level.
Yeah.
I'll just go first. I'm gonna say 5 out of 5
Mm-hmm.
because this is one of my favorite movies. So of course.
I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10, and it could be higher on a second watch. Who knows?
You'll probably watch it 10 times in your life.
Yeah, I could easily
Yeah.
watch it again for sure.
That's the thing. The
It's
comedic
so
aspect
funny.
is so strong. It's so consistently funny. I was thinking, like a 4.5 stars. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really especially liked how it highlighted that a lot of the time the process can be way more interesting and characterful and almost cinematic than what the end result is. Like
Yeah.
it makes you wonder about, all the garbage like Justice League or like Solo, a Star Wars story that have these like crazy stories like trapped behind like the production. And I'm sure that's way more interesting and has way more character and conflict than the actual result that like came in the end.
Yeah.
With it, Coven being the example of like just
Coven.
Coven, sorry, my mistake.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I don't
thought
know
was
how to
really
rate
great.
it. The like whether you rate it on. I mean, obviously you're rating the film itself, but the regardless of where the director was, like you needed those characters. I don't know. I think it's got to be a 10 out of 10 for me. Like Ralph said, it's one of my favorite movies ever. I've seen it probably a dozen times, and it was so cool seeing it in an audience. I'd seen it
Yeah.
so many times with a friend like, hey, you got to watch this movie. You got to watch this movie. It's usually one of those like, just trust me, sit down. It does, who knows what it's going to be for you. But seeing it in a room full of people who had never seen it and were, laughing along the parts that I always thought were hilarious. But I wondered before we did the screening, like, is anybody going to think this is as funny? It's funny to me because I've seen it a dozen times. So it's quotable. I know it's coming up and it's funnier to me every time. But no, people were loving it. So
Good.
yeah, it's 10 out of 10.
I guess question time.
Awesome.
Good recommendation.
Yeah,
Yes.
no,
Not
I
bad.
can't wait to watch that one with like to show some people.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
gonna be fun.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun to watch, like how other people react, as you said. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
let's do some questions then. If you want to leave your own questions for us to answer, head over to the Sardonicast Reddit, where Ralph will lead a thread for you to leave whatever you want.
That's right.
Let's start with one from Cash Slinging Smasher, which is a funny name.
Mm.
Can you name a movie that you really enjoy that has a side plot so bad or uninteresting that you skip it on rewatches?
Am I allowed to name like an anthology kind of movie? So like something
Yeah, go on.
like Tokyo exclamation mark. That's one where like there's two really great stories and one really annoying awful story where it's like I don't
Right,
know.
yeah.
I rewatch it. The only reason I would watch the bad one would be to just torture myself. So something like that.
Place Beyond the Pines for me.
Yeah, that too.
The
That's a
whole
good answer.
third
That is a good
story
one.
is just I just shut the movie off after the
You
first.
should just
half
shut
of
the
it,
movie off
basically.
after the first third of that movie.
Yeah, first
That's
third.
the peak,
Yeah,
and then it's just downhill from
Uh-huh.
there.
downhill from there.
Yeah, well, it's the obvious answer, but I can't stand the Ewoks.
Nah.
Always skip past them little fuckers.
How about the opposite? Like a really awful movie, but it has one good plot or character in it that you're like, oh, that was interesting.
Normally I find those kinds of films so forgettable. I can't
Yeah,
even remember
exactly.
any.
There's probably one somewhere.
Yeah, I remember. I think I had kind of this issue with Mr. Nobody because there's many different like
Right,
timeline stories happening at once, where it's just like, oh, some of these, as soon as they come back to them, I'm like, some of them I'm more excited about when they come back to them.
And honestly, I find some episodes of Black Mirror to be what Ralph just said. Like,
Yeah.
kind of good concepts, but the execution kind of fumbles. Like, the latest season I thought was quite like that.
The whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, like, it's definitely one of the flatter seasons. Like, there isn't really a proper standout, for sure.
I liked season 5, episode 1. I thought that was hilarious.
I heard the first episode was good.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't seen
Yeah,
any
I
of
like
it?
the
Okay.
idea of it, but there were just some weird questions I had about it.
What,
Sure.
the Miley Cyrus one are you talking
No,
about?
no. Well,
No, that
don't
was the
spoil anything
third
because
one.
Ralph hasn't seen it.
Yeah.
That was episode 3.
Sure. Oh, shit. I guess, did I watch it out of order?
I don't
You
know.
might have.
It was like the video game one.
Right. That one was amazing.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I thought that was the strongest episode.
I thought, that one was really awesome.
Yeah, episode 2 was really lame, and then the Miley Cyrus one was like kind of decent, but not amazing.
Yeah, it was like nearly there.
Yeah. Evan, did you have any film where you don't like a side plot?
I'm trying to think about it. The
If you don't have anything, that's fine. We can.
I'm
Is
not
there
sure.
a least favorite character in Rat Race?
Yeah. Rat
Let's
Race.
see. No, they're all great. They're all great. Actually, I don't like the tongue piercing guy so much.
Yeah.
I think he's a little out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's my least favorite plot. No, it's all good, man. It's all good. Watch that movie. Star-studded.
Perfect movie. 5 out of 5.
Yeah, actually, the Smash Mouth side story was a little. It's not a joke.
Smash Mouth is in it?
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything.
Oh, you
Oh
haven't
my God, I
you guys
gotta
haven't
watch it
seen
now.
it.
Oh,
Okay.
boy.
Well, never mind.
No.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil
All
it.
right.
We have a question specifically for Evan from
What?
Tunisian, who asks, for Adam's brother, why did you force your parents to watch Tenacious D in the Pick of Destiny instead of Stalker?
Oh boy.
I didn't say you forced them.
No, I mean, well, I definitely was maybe a little overbearing on the movie choice there. I don't know. It's that I was saying at the beginning of the recording here. There's something to be said about nostalgia having, kind of tinting your view on things.
Yeah.
And back when, man, I must have been, I don't know, 16 or 17 when that movie came out.
Mm-hmm.
And was getting high a lot, and it was incredible. It was amazing.
Tenacious D.
I wasn't even. Well,
Right.
yeah, I wasn't really that big a fan of their music, but it was like from that opening credits where it's like instead of the THX, it's the THC, and like the sound,
Right.
Dude,
like,
weed,
the
LaMayo.
surround sound is just coming from their farts. It's like this is so cool, and yeah. So the memory that I had of that movie was tainted by the moment in time that I had seen that movie and the state of mind that I was in when I saw that movie.
Baked.
Okay.
And yeah, and it was one of those moments, like, I enjoyed it, of nostalgia, but it's that moment when you're like showing somebody, usually it's more like a YouTube video or something like that. You're like, yo, you got to see this video. And then you're playing it and you kind of like side-eyeing and looking at the person watching it, and you can tell they're not really responding to it. It was like that, but for like an hour and a half. My family.
I remember it being
It
kind of
was not
bad
the
when I
best.
first saw it.
Yeah.
I loved it
Yeah.
when I saw it. I saw it when I was
know.
like 13 and I loved it.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
No, and my
recommend
mom
that.
like really likes Jack Black. Like one of her
Oh fuck, she
favorite
loves Nacho
movies
Libre. Yeah.
is Nacho Libre, which is so bad.
Masterpiece.
So I figured like, oh, she likes Jack Black. This will be funny. But no, I don't think they were too into it. I think my mom fell asleep. But,
They fall asleep in every movie though.
Oh, okay.
yeah. But no, if they would have stayed up, they would have seen a masterpiece.
Mm.
It was
Maybe you
fine.
should have gotten them high first.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, sneak them some edibles.
Oh my god. Yeah, no thanks.
Put LSD in the sangria.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would go well.
Yeah, they go really well.
What's the worst that
That-
could happen?
I don't know if we want to get on Climax again. I know you guys have talked about that, but I don't I don't know if any of you have been dosed with psychedelics. But
No.
No.
well, don't
Don't
drink
do it.
anything that you haven't had your eye on.
Yeah.
It's a very well, no, if you think about it, like whether you've done it or not, 1 minute you're drinking a sangria and like watching these characters kind of go through it. And I know you guys have talked about this before, but the fact that it was done fully like fly on the wall style, like you're not going into the kind of really typical like, whoa, drug mode in a movie where like the
Yeah.
walls are moving and like,
And it was
whoa,
very
this is
improv
weird.
too. There's a lot of
Totally.
improvisation. Those characters felt very real. So when
Yeah,
it started
and
happening,
what's even weirder, most of them had, I mean, I don't know if most or all of them had never done psychedelics, including Gaspard Noé, which I don't know if I believe that, but
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
it's,
I don't believe that at all.
How would he know?
it was
whatever?
it was terrifying. Just watching kind of people go through that, like, okay, here we go, and you don't know how long it's gonna last. Is this real? Like, what's going on? Yeah. So no, I'm not gonna dose my parents with brownies to watch Pick of
To watch
Destiny
Tenacious
again.
D.
Yeah.
Oh dear, that's terrifying, man.
You guys ready? So yeah, that's my answer.
Well, Raven's Lair has one for us to all answer. They ask, what movies are you not ever going to watch? Or something you know you're just never going to bother
Toy
with?
Story 4.
Oh really?
Never gonna watch
Really?
it.
Nice.
Never gonna watch it.
High
It's
five.
over. 3 is the last one.
We connected. I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah, it was. All the way
I got
from
long
Canada to
arms.
LA. Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
I got short legs but long arms.
There's tons of movies I just never feel like I need to see ever. Like the Emoji Movie. Like, why? Why would I ever watch that?
Oh, you're missing out on that one.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you should watch it because it's just to baffle. It's just baffling, the film. You should see it just to experience the worst fucking thing I've ever
Yeah,
seen.
I don't know. It's a little weird to say for sure never going to watch ever when, I don't know. Like, what movie am I never going to see ever? Oh, I
Well,
got
like
an
The
answer.
Lion King.
Wait, no. I'm going to look up what the fuck this movie is. I'm just going to
Oh, okay.
remember the title because I got a perfect answer for this fucking one.
Oh, okay. I remember you saying The Lion King before.
No,
Like,
well,
you
I'm not
never
going to see
seen
that in theaters.
The new one.
I'm gonna wait
Oh,
until
okay, you're
digital.
gonna see
I'm
it
gonna
on- Right,
torture
okay,
myself
you'll
in the
hate watch
comfort
it
of my own
later.
home. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the
okay.
movie that I am never going to see ever, 100% guaranteed, is 100 Years, directed by Robert Rodriguez, a film that is going to be released in the year 2115. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well, you never know.
That's-
You might
that's my
get
yeah.
uploaded to a computer.
100% certain Well, if it gets released before that point, then sure, I'll see it. But I don't think it's ever going to happen.
What is
Written
that?
by
He
John
made a
Malkovich.
film and he's not going to release it?
It's a movie that is basically it exists as an ad for some booze that's like they're like 100 years aged, blah, Louis, blah, blah, blah. It's the best booze ever. And so then they paid Robert Rodriguez to direct the movie. We don't know how long it is, I guess. John Malkovich wrote it and stars in it. And the whole gimmick is that it's not going to be released for 100 years. So they made it in 2015.
Wow.
It's going to be released in 2115.
Probably stinks.
Yeah, I mean, what the
I feel
hell
like
is this going to be?
Those kind of movies, or like, you're talking about the Emoji Movie. Like, there's some movies that I don't need to watch, not because I know exactly what it's going to be like, but I have a feeling that like it's like what's that dish, balut? It's like the fermented like chick inside the eggshell.
Oh right, yeah,
that, like,
yeah.
You
yeah,
eat. It's like buried underground. And it's like I don't know. I've talked to people who are like, yeah, I tried it. You got to. Everybody's got to try it. Like I feel like I know what it's going to taste like. And if I don't, if it tastes different than what I thought it was going to taste like, it doesn't mean I'm going to enjoy it. Like I'll get to check it off on my list. Like watch the Emoji Movie, ate a balut. Like I'm good.
I think that with films, it's even like there's more of an argument to make that you know what it's going to be like because they put their best material out in the marketing and promotional material. So like if it's a comedy movie and you didn't laugh during the trailer, you're probably not going to laugh during the movie because those were the best jokes that they had.
Although that's not always, it's not always true.
Not always
but
true,
you're
but
right.
like a studio felt like,
Yeah.
come on, a Seth Rogen comedy,
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And then you see the movie, it's like, why did I even watch it if all the best jokes were in the trailer?
Yeah,
And sometimes those jokes aren't even funny.
exactly.
So.
For me, I have a particular thing about bad horror movies.
Oh.
Like I pride myself on the fact that I've never seen a Paranormal Activity movie.
Oh.
I'm never going to. There's nothing about it that even interests me, even on like a so bad it's good level.
Really?
Because I don't think they are like that, are they? They're just boring.
They're really
The
boring.
first one has some charm to it.
No, can't
No?
agree with you there.
Okay, well, I'm going to rewatch
No.
it soon anyway. But I'm going to see
Oh,
if
yeah?
it... Because I'm going to see if it makes my guilty pleasures for 2007 or whatever, so...
Guilty pleasures.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
Okay.
also shit like that Slender Man movie.
Yeah.
That was...
Or like
Bad.
Unfriended. Because you guys just make videos on it.
Yeah, Unfriended.
So I can just
Pretty
watch you
good.
guys' videos on it and that would be way more entertaining.
Yeah,
than
I
guess
sit
that's one
through
way to
2
do
hours
it.
of shite.
The
Yeah.
Bye Bye Man.
Yeah, exactly. That kind of ilk of horror movie.
Yeah.
I just can't stand them.
So far, the ones
Yeah.
you've mentioned, I would say, like... Yeah, if you're watching in the right environment with the right amount of booze and friends, then it could be kind of funny. But one that I will suggest never to try and have that experience with is Amusement, which is a film that I can guarantee you the only pleasant experience you're ever going to get out of that movie is just watching my video on it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's only funny if you keep in mind like the entire plot and like every detail and try to piece together why it doesn't make sense. Like that's the humor in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And you can't really get that out of just like a first time viewing watching the movie. It's just a bad movie in that case.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't your review series on that almost as long as the actual movie? Wasn't it,
It was
like 3 parts?
parts.
Or was it just 2?
It was 3 parts.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to talk about in that movie.
There is.
It's a very ambitious film.
Rick Mick Nick has one for us.
Hmm.
You've mentioned what makes a film or director pretentious to you before, but I'd like to hear from you guys what makes a critic pretentious in your book.
Ooh.
Ooh.
It's quite a good question.
Like the same reasons, like self-importance. Usually if a critic's like, my opinion is the best one. I don't know
Yeah.
many critics who do that, but if they do that, they're a fucking asshole.
There's like a tone of delivery
Yeah.
that makes all the difference. If you act like you know everything and you're not willing to budge or hear other people out, that's what will do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd call it pretentious, but like the critics who are like, this is a rip-roaring good time, fun for the whole family.
Oh,
They
like
say
Lights,
bullshit
Camera,
like that, like,
Jackson?
yeah, like a bunch of bullshit. Like they sound like Mark from American Movie. They have no idea what they're talking about, so they're just using
It's
these
just
words.
fluff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the idea of like a critic that's that doesn't get behind the fact that they are just sharing their opinions, right? So like if a critic, and I know you guys are all open about this, but you this is your opinion on a movie, whether you agree with me or not, doesn't really matter. This is what I think of the movie. But I think there's a lot of reviewers out there that, you know, their opinion is not their opinion, it's sacrosanct. This is an objectively bad movie, or this is amazing, and if you disagree with me, then fuck you. Like that's pretentious to me.
Yeah.
I guess my understanding or my feelings on critics that I've read that feel pretentious is when I read a review for a movie and by the end of it, I feel like I've read a poem and I didn't learn anything about the movie. I feel like it feels where the review itself feels like an excuse to try and make some sort of like grandiose poetry rather than actually talk about the qualities
like an
of the film.
English lit like essay.
Yeah,
or something.
exactly.
Yeah,
where it's like
dissecting
I'm
the
going
film.
to exercise my vocabulary, and that's the whole point of it. And it's like it's no longer about the movie. That's what I feel is like pretentious.
Right.
Yeah, getting hung up on symbolism that may or may not even be there.
Well, I mean, like even that would be an example of like some quality of the film at least. But there's
Right.
so many that like they'll just basically recycle the plot without really giving any information on like what made it good. Why did you like it? Really basic
Yeah.
things that you should be communicating in a review. Like I would rather have
Just what
somebody
you got out of it.
I would rather have somebody with like a shit vocabulary just say what they liked about the movie than somebody, you know, trying to make some essay, some poetry essay out of it that by the end of it you don't really learn anything other than, oh, this guy has a vocabulary and he obviously has a degree in something, but like you didn't tell me anything about the movie.
It's like when you look online for a recipe. You're just
Oh,
like,
God.
I just want to know how to make these cookies, man.
Yeah,
I don't need
exactly.
4 to 5 pages of, well, I was out today at Trader Joe's and I saw these great deal. And by the way, springtime's nice. It's like, who you? Just give me the recipe.
That's
I'm not here for this.
that's an inevitability just based on internet algorithms.
It's SEO.
Because the
Yeah,
more
clicks.
the more words you include in
Longer
your
you stay on a
article,
page.
the more keywords will show up in a search result. So
It's genius.
I don't know if it's pretentious, but like critics who nitpick on one particular aspect of a film and act like that's the only thing the film has going for it, or like they just focus on that part and not all the good qualities of it, I think that's kind of fucked up too. And I think it's manipulative to just harp on a certain plot points that are, well, like CinemaSins kind of does that, where it's just constant, you know, this is what's wrong with it, nitpick for 20 minutes,
Yeah.
and then that's it.
Yeah.
CinemaSins
Even if
is
it's a good film.
not really. I don't think they call themselves critics in the first place.
Yeah, but I don't know what they are.
Exactly, they're clickbait.
They say it's all
yeah,
ironic
what's the
too,
point
but
of
I'm
your
like, what's
commentary
ironic
then?
That's all
about
it.
it? What are you?
It's
You're
money.
being
That's all it
sarcastic.
is. There's no.
Yeah.
It's just clickbait. It's literally just clickbait.
Yeah.
If you want to have someone really lazily try to point out every perceived potential flaw in something that isn't even really a flaw, like, oh, she still has her shirt on. Ding. Like, okay. All right.
Yeah.
This movie has opening titles. Ding. Okay.
Yeah.
One more?
Okay, let's do one that isn't even movie related.
Oh.
From John Travolta, 69, 69, 69.
Yes, my boy.
Yeah.
Okay, Flaw.
How was high school for you beautiful people? Nice and
High
simple.
school? It's pretty good. That's it. Goodbye, everybody.
4 out of 5. 4 out of 5.
Yeah, it's pretty good, was it? I thought high school was shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because I was I was at my most like insecure and shy then, because you know like you tend to fall into like either a bit of an introvert or a bit of an extrovert. I went full on introvert.
Yeah.
It took me a while to sort of find myself, and of course everyone's at their most cruel in high school. It's just like a shit show, especially the school I went to. Yeah.
That was more me in like middle school. I think high school I started to get out of the introverted mode.
Well,
when I
what
started
age
to
are you
make,
in
like,
high
movies.
school? Because we don't really call that.
Oh, so my school was a special case where grades 7 through 12 are all in the same building. Like it's all the same school. So like
Right.
But so basically, what was it? 7th grade to 12th grade. Yeah, and by the time I got to when I was like 16, 17, I got out of that introverted state when I started making movies in the high school, when I got permission to finally do all that shit. So that was fun. I finally got like a passion for something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the rest of high school was kind of like your experience, Alex. Kind of introverted and it kind of sucked.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I agree with what Alex said about you kind of figure out, you go down one or the other, introvert or extrovert. And I'd been pretty introverted before high school. Maybe this can touch on embarrassing stories about Adam, but it's not that embarrassing. We both had pretty severe allergies as kids. So like, nuts and dairy, seafood, latex, what else? A bunch of drugs, bananas, chickpeas. It was like, it was pretty intense. And so like I had come out of junior high being like a fanny pack boy, I had like an EpiPen and, it was like.
Now you're rocking the fanny pack again.
I know you love your peanut butter. Yeah, I'm bringing it back, baby. But no, it was like, it was still fresh. It was like, allergies weren't as well known back then, I guess. So it was like, not that, peanut butter isn't going to be allowed in schools anymore. I was like, this new kid means that I can't bring peanut butter to school. I love PB&Js. So it was pretty lame. I got bullied a lot. And then high school, those allergies apparently went away. I got tested again and everything was fine. And so then, I discovered drama and music and whatever, and was like, oh shit, like I can like create my own identity. So yeah, no, by the end of high school, it was pretty okay. I'd come into like a pretty solid friend group that I still have today. We're all on different sides of the globe right now, but it was okay. Yeah, it was okay. Although I was kind of a dick in like the end of high school, I think. So I'm kind of reeling it back now. But no, it was okay. It was okay.
I dropped out.
I was kind of a dick in high school too. Oh, you dropped out.
You can't not be a bit of a dick. It's just part of the course, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off.
You're trying
Adam.
to figure out who you are yourself, right? And in doing so, it's like a lot easier to give other people shit than to acknowledge your own insecurities and shortcomings.
That's the way everyone was in high school, because everyone's insecure about everything about them.
Yeah.
You don't even know who you are yet, really, until, God, way later.
Yep. Not yet, I don't think.
Yeah. Sorry, Adam. What were you going to say, Adam? Sorry.
I dropped out. I did high school, I guess, technically start at grade 10 where I was. I did all of grade 10, and then I dropped out before Christmas in grade 11. Mostly, like, I don't know. I just wasn't interested in a lot of what I was... what I was experiencing. I would just be like sleeping through classes or being late anyway. And I was like, well, the initial goal wasn't like, oh yeah, fuck school, I'm going to be smarter without it. It was just like, I'm going to take condensed courses where my time is more valuable and do the same thing in less time because there are other options you can take to do that. So I was moving towards doing condensed courses, but still technically being in school. And so I talked with one of my counselors for the school or whatever. I was like, hey, so I'm still in the school play. I want to see if I can, I'm moving towards doing condensed courses and like doing some online courses and dropping a few things here. Is it possible to still stay in the school play? Should I stay in my classes until after Christmas? Because that's when the school play is happening. And he's like, oh, well, let's just talk to the principal about that. He was like, it seems reasonable. And so like I went, I started the communication to ask when I could have just said nothing. And then we talked to the principal and she's like, oh no, you're kicked out of the play. You've missed enough classes already. I'm like, what? So she immediately just like went on this power trip and just like, okay, we were so far through the production that like you're just making it hard on the drama teacher now, who's got to like recast this. Like I had a pretty major role, and like that really pissed me off. And so I was like, oh fuck you, I'm not going back to school ever. And I just left and worked a lot on my music. And eventually I wound up, taking those condensed courses, just going through things really fast, got good marks. Just, I took my English 30 exam, literally not having spent a single day in an English 30 class. I just went right to the test and got 90 something. I was like, okay, well, fuck it. Like, so Yeah, I asked one of the teachers because I knew that one of the questions on the exam would be relating to either a book or a film that was shown in class. So I just asked one of the teachers at this condensed Center High condensed course place in Edmonton. I was like, "Hey, what are some of the movies you showed in class?" And then she said one of them was Shawshank Redemption. I was like, "Okay, good." And I knew that no matter what question was asked on that test about relating something to a novel or a film, I knew that no matter what was asked, I could find a way to fit in, to relate it to that scene of the guy with the bird that, going back into society. And I did.
Yeah.
It's like no matter what they ask, I can relate it to that. So I was pretty confident about it. And the high school experience was just really... I had friends. I don't think that I was like hated or anything. It was decent. I was going through a lot of shit at the time. A lot of really bad shit, as I've discussed earlier in other episodes of this podcast. And, just developing and sexuality and drugs and bunch of fucked up shit. So I can't say the experience was good. It was very short-lived. And I'm glad I dropped out. That seemed to have been the better choice for what I'm doing in my life. But, it's just don't really have too much to go into in terms of like the whole experience, other than just I didn't do it. I just dropped out.
Well, you were captain of the football team before you dropped out, right?
What? No.
Go Titans.
No. I couldn't tell if you were being serious. I was like, what? I didn't play football.
I was just high the whole time. I thought you were the star quarterback.
Okay.
My mistake.
All right. I guess that's it for questions.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So I guess we got a movie recommendation.
It's me, right?
What was the last one before this? Oh, yeah, it was
you.
Alien 3. Yes, it is you,
recommended
Ralph.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bada boom. All right. So it's been about a year since we started this podcast, and I had my first recommendation. And it's about time to recommend another David Lynch film, because that was my first recommendation too. And we're gonna watch Eraserhead.
Okay, good.
Yay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was half debating watching that like 3 nights ago. I was like,
oh, really?
Will today be the
glad you
day?
didn't. Well, even if you did.
I mean, yeah.
I've been meaning
matter.
to catch up on David Lynch for so long, so I'm glad for...
Well, now let's watch one of his weird movies. Wild at Heart was more normal.
Yeah, more normie.
Time to get really far out there. Yeah.
All right,
Also,
can't
I'm
wait.
excited.
Okay.
Nice. If any of you listening don't want to be spoiled for Eraserhead, watch it before the next episode in 2 weeks from now. We'll be spoiling it. We'll be discussing it. So watch it, because then you'll be able to listen to the discussion without being spoiled. Thank you for listening. If you want to support the show, $2 a month, Sardonicast.com. Sign up for premium. You'll get these episodes early as they're edited. Also, patreon.com/Sardonicast. Same thing. And also, we have merch. We have some shirts and stuff. Thank you for joining, Evan. Special guest.
Hey,
Yeah.
thanks for having me.
Thank you, Evan.
No,
Yeah, thanks for
thanks
being
for
on.
the plug
It was a great
last
time.
week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I listen to you guys every week, so this is it's a dream come true.
You listen to us every 2 weeks, unless you listen to each of the episodes
That's what I meant.
twice.
Yeah, I listened to them twice. I just wanted to say before I go, the episode 36, after hearing the fact that you had to retake all of your lines, Ralph, was the funniest thing that I've ever listened to.
It's hysterical. It's
like,
hysterical.
It's amazing, because also there's like throughout the whole thing, it makes it feel like both Alex and Adam are overdubbing. It's amazing. It's amazing. It feels scripted. And
that's
no,
brilliant.
I mean, I'm really impressed. You did the whole like you tried to match the intonations. I'm sure it was
so
wonderful.
funny.
Yeah, I was really
You sounded-
acting.
you sounded very
I was moving
tired.
my hands. I was very passionate.
Yeah. I
it was
went back
great.
and I looked at
I
some
think
of the
whoever
comments
posted
on
that in the subreddit. Whoever posted
yeah,
the
I did
picture in the
too.
subreddit of the guy like sitting next to the like the ice cream
Yeah.
freezer, like talking. Perfect. Am I allowed to? Can I
Make a
give
plug?
a little
What's your bar?
plug? Well, yeah, my bar is the Diving Bell Social Club. It's in Montreal, and we do music and drag and burlesque and theater and da 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 da.
Where's Montreal?
Montreal is it's in Quebec. It's in
Where's
Canada.
that? Oh, is Canada North America?
It's the yes.
Okay.
It's
What
the place
planet?
where they say an eggplant is an aubergine. It's that whole thing. I think it comes from the French. But no, every Tuesday we do a movie screening. So we've got beer and couches and good times. Tomorrow, I don't know when this comes out. Anyway,
It's
July
not coming
9th.
out today.
It's not coming out today.
No.
Okay, is it coming out tomorrow?
No.
It's coming out.
Okay, well,
Next
then
week?
next one,
Why don't you just tell people where they would find out?
just go to divingbellsocial.com. Our calendar's there, and come by and say hi. It's a fun time.
Okay. Awesome.
Thanks for having me. It was awesome.
Thanks for joining. Thank
Yeah,
you,
thanks for
everybody, for listening to this episode of Sardonicast. Keanu Reeves blesses you with his lovely, perfect soul. Shalom.
Whoa.
So long.
Goodbye, everybody.
Farewell.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.